Hello?
What's up, girl? What happened after Tony dumped you?
Girl, I'm over it. I went from heartbreak to hate.
Oi, Joy.
What up, Bob?
Doesn't it seem like it's been like 6 months since we did a podcast?
It does feel like it's been a lengthier time.
I think June was just a lot. It was a lot. June and July have been already a lot.
Already a lot, and July just started.
July just started. A bitch doesn't do good in the heat. I'm gonna just let y'all know.
Neither one.
Neither one of us are heat people.
Not built for that life.
No. And I feel like even if we were thin people, we would still not be heat people.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, I'm claiming it's in my blood.
It probably
Claiming it was
is.
passed down through my maternal line.
And I don't get it because the whole rest of my family will sit out in the heat and enjoy that shit. And that ain't my life.
Oh, and shout out to my bestie because she, as you know, your wife.
My wife,
she
yeah.
loves
Just
to be
sit in the heat.
outside on the phone. She doesn't care, just melting. And I mean, living in the hottest places on the planet. And she can just be outside for hours. I am in awe because I cannot.
I mean, that's why I married her. Someone has to get the groceries when it's 102 degrees.
We love you.
Love ya. All right. So we're doing a thing that all podcasts do, but we've never done it before. So This is new ground for us.
It is.
We're doing like a year wrap up, like of what we did in the year and what we talked about. So
And to maybe see if we have any fresh takes.
yeah,
that
maybe
have
our
come to
thoughts
it.
and opinions have changed on science.
Not science.
Um,
Great with you.
So we did this whole thing where we did like a my blah life through this past year. And what is the name of this episode? Because you're French.
Because I'm French. The denouement of my life.
There you go. So basically the end of our year of my blah life. So we've had my evolution life. We've had my pussy life. We had my spooky life.
Yes.
We had my science life, which really wasn't sciencey with Sam.
Hi,
My inquisitive life,
Okay.
where we talked about our friendship, and my resolution, obviously. We talked about death, hell,
Yes.
being informed on HIV status, and getting tested. Random. We had a random episode. Another Sam podcast.
Another Sam appearance.
I feel like Sam should be here. Sam, you're probably driving to Rockford right now, so you're not listening because it's not live. And then we had our DIY life. So we've had a lot of different lives this past year. And
Well, we are versatile bitches.
we are verse. That is a true statement. A real verse person, not a fake verse person. And so with evolution.
Now, we talked about the science. I remember this.
Yeah.
Even though it was a year ago, and you know she struggles with memory.
Absolutely. Will
we
not
talked-
take some ginkgo biloba like she's supposed to.
Just shut up. I want a million other herbs. Anyways, neither here nor there, people. But we also really just talked about how things evolve in your life. You know what I mean? And evolving as a person and not feeling that you have to be the same as you were, 20 years ago. Because that's a sentence that we can actually say now.
Yes.
It seems weird still, but 20 years ago I was still a grown up, but thank God I've changed.
Yeah, and I think that we kind of asked everyone to evolve in a sense of becoming a better person in however form that was. I know we've stuck with we constantly, every time we see each other, have constant conversations about indigenous tribes and indigenous people and people of color and BIPOC and all the things that have evolved and are constantly still evolving and just being learned, I guess, in that aspect was part of that evolution life that we'd ask people to be part of. So
Yeah, exactly. That, and we talk about trans issues. We talk about a lot of things, and I think it's amazing to. I think everybody should have a space with a friend where they can just get all. I mean, I think having questions and being possibly ignorant about something is completely different than having, ignorance. Like
absolutely,
pointed, hated ignorance.
absolutely.
Whereas, we have more like the open, okay, I'm not really sure about this.
Yeah,
What's
like,
your thought? Like, let's think
absolutely.
it through. I am older, but I'm trying to keep it young. Let me get myself together.
Get you a friend you can close the door and be ignorant with. That is the kind of the point. Because, like,
somebody who will explain to you the true meaning of the word trade. No, I'm just
trade. Yes, y'all gays ain't got the right dictionary. I don't know where. Anyway, we're not gonna get into that.
But
Okay.
yes.
But yeah, like just having that knowledge and then being like, hey, I saw this, I read that. And so being a colonizer is a struggle right now for a lot of people, but we'll make it through.
You did that on purpose.
I did that on
I was
purpose.
just sitting there and smiling. I'm like,
Because I'm apparently not a colonizer. I am a lice what?
A
lice warrior.
No, it's a lice warrior.
Lice warrior. Okay.
Yes.
So if you haven't read or seen anything on TikTok, there is a large list of. They're actually pretty hilarious because it's not like it's almost trying to find the right term for white people that's derogatory, but they don't hit like it's like it's I know it's not necessarily comedy in some hands, but like it's still
they don't hit for you.
No, they don't hurt for me.
You're built different.
I know.
I can verify that lots of people are.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean, the tears and the frustration over colonizer itself.
Oh, white tears. White tears are the saltiest, and they evaporate faster than most other tears. It's genetics. White people are built differently. Oh. That's what I roll.
I haven't done that in a while.
Oh.
I just needed to get that out.
I just, every time I see one of those TikToks where I saw one the other day, a woman was like stealing another person's mail, and she was stealing his mail because he gets too many deliveries according to her, and she feels like it's drugs, and they're all Amazon packages that this guy, and so like she takes his package and he like grabs it from her, and then she sprays something on him. And then he just pushes her a little bit, and she rolls on the ground screaming that you've killed me. You've killed me.
Wow. I haven't seen this.
And then this is white on white crime too, because that does exist, people. Investigation discovery wouldn't exist without it. But that is the white tears to me. Every time I think about those extreme women who are like, get out of my neighborhood, and the dude's like, I'm just delivering a pizza, like, and then it's like, you tried to hit me through, and they just like make those things up. Like, to me, that is total white tears. Muhammad, Illinois. Hi. Okay, so
our next topic.
Our next topic was pussy life.
Well, only one of us is over here stepping our pussy up. Mine is kind of in hibernation mode, so. I think we were being more educational.
We were being more educational, and we were kind of talking about, WAP, which really no one even talks about anymore. It seemed like it's gone so far. I mean, we've had Little Nas X's situation.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, he took all that shit away from WAP. Like, he just, lap dance Satan, and everybody will forget about Cardi B's wet-ass pussy. But, yeah, so I don't know what to even elaborate on pussy life. We kind of just went through the controversy, talked about songs before that were made with it. As far as WAP is concerned, I really do not like any, for lack of a better term, weird owling that has happened of the WAP. Have you seen like people who do, like, I think Ginger Minge and a bunch of drag queens did like a parody of it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
no, it wasn't Ginger Minj, it was Lady Bunny, but it was
I get
just
what you
like,
mean, yeah.
same thing, different person. It was just, it's,
Yeah, I didn't care for all those. There were a
no,
million parodies. Didn't care for those. Sometimes just leave the original great as it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, um, anything else on pussy? Do you just want to say the word at least?
I mean, I said pussy. I
Okay.
said that. Yeah.
I felt like
only
I've
one.
said it 7 times,
Oh,
and
I
you
see. You
haven't
needed
said.
me to get
Yeah,
more counts in.
yeah,
so
because
we're
you can
equal.
say it more than I can. It's one of those
All
things
right.
you can say.
Right. Stepping up your pussy. Okay.
Stepping up. Stepping over to Spooky Life,
Yes.
where we had ghost tales.
Mhm. Yes, I remember this. This is great that we're doing this.
Yeah,
It was like
'cause
we wrote stories.
you wrote stories. I had a couple
narrated.
of my real life
Yes.
experiences, and we had voiceovers and different
Yes.
sound effects. And
Listen,
it was
that was really
It was
us.
produced.
That was us stretching out.
Yeah.
And, we'll see how this year goes because we love October and maybe we can give you something new.
Yeah. I mean,
This
I
year,
went
obviously.
on ghost hunting
I
last
know
weekend.
you did.
So my spooky life has continued.
It always does.
It always does. It's always spooky. Um, yeah, so then we had our science life with Sam.
The face that you're making right now, Sam,
I mean,
it feels a little.
yeah,
It
it's a
feels
little
judgmental.
bittersweet face, right?
Yeah, I know. You're sad.
I'm sad. But so Sam came on, our friend Sam, and he discussed
Lightning. He
lightning
asked a lot about lightning.
because he had been struck by it, and then he
It's
knew a lot
fascinating.
about velociraptors and dinosaurs because he'd watched Jurassic Park. And we kind of talked about, did we even talk about time changes, or was that just something he keeps bringing up to me?
I can't remember if we talked about it on that one or not.
I know that it was science, but we really did not get into much science
We
at
did not.
all.
But listen, we did what we could.
We do what we could, and Sam is an entertaining person because he's definitely a person who doesn't mind giving me shit back to me,
Right.
which a lot of people don't, so I appreciate that with him. Then we had My Inquisitive Life, which we asked questions from each other that we maybe didn't know after 20
Yeah.
years of friendship.
Wow.
Can you even believe this year has happened? It doesn't seem like. And then some of those episodes were even phoned in.
We were separate for
Yeah.
a lot of those. Yeah.
Distant together but separate, whatever those terms are.
Get with you.
At home but together, whatever all those COVID rah-rah bullshit things were. Yeah, so we asked a bunch of questions, found out a little bit more about each other. Then we had, of course, our 4th annual resolution life.
Yes, one of our favorites.
It's our favorite thing to do. Every year
Tell other
since the
people.
radio show, we've done resolutions for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always a fun time for us
Yes.
because we feel strongly that other people should change in a positive way that would affect our lives positively.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. And then part of having a podcast is really ego, stroking it, rubbing it, fast, slow,
Wow.
just pulling at the tip, and then having your ego explode. So what I'm saying there is, if you're going to have a podcast, it's got to at least be about you in some way, shape, or form, right?
I got it.
All right. So then we took a turn for the dark in February, and it was the shortest, longest, coldest month,
Yes.
which wasn't really cold at all this year. But we talked about death and the discussing of alternative death burials that we wanted to have.
Yes. And I mean, this is like an old tweet that's gone around. I'm sure everybody has seen some version of it. But there's an amazing tweet this young man wrote. I saw how much caskets cost. Y'all can just bury me loose. And I feel that was kind
Mhm.
of, the sentiment behind that episode was like, why does it cost so much? Like,
Absolutely.
you're already, a lot of that stuff is for the people who are left behind. But you and I both feel like no frills. Just, the Dollar Tree of
If the Dollar
burial.
Tree could have a popsicle stick build, I'll start working on it now. I'll just make my own. Keep it under my bed.
I saw a really sick
A
TikTok
pallet.
that was
Make
like,
it out of pallets.
this lady's working in a crematorium, and the lady comes in and she says, "Do you take walk-ins?" Now listen, that's a morbid. I get it. It's not right, but at the same time,
It's funny.
it is. It's funny.
But you know what the funny thing is? Like, it's funny now, but for a person who works there, you know that every old white man has come in the door and said that. Like, or some, you know how old white men are. They all have the same pocket full of jokes, which still has lint and a butterscotch from 1976 in it. And they just say the same things over. I mean, like, it was always, Bob, can you spell your name forward and backward? It was always those stupid ass, corny ass
Yeah.
jokes. So,
It's not even so much the corniness; it's the fact that they retell them 900 times.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with them being old. It's just them being unfunny.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm not ageist.
Sure, you're not.
I'm in the age protected. Remember that.
I knew that was.
I'm
was
2
so-
years in. I'm 2 years in. You still got a year to go.
It depends. I thought in some cases it was 40.
No, ma'am, it's 45. But you can get ARP at any age. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that. Anyways, next.
Anyway, next.
Oh, and then hell. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Because we talked about hell
The
is
various
a place
forms
on Earth.
on Earth. Yeah.
And what's your worst hell? I would like to add one since we're doing a review and additional thoughts. Hell is neighbors who shout with their whole chest and their whole throat hours at a time, as I've been experiencing. Which I haven't gone ghost hunting, but I guess I would also say that my spooky life has continued because of said neighbors. I had reached a breaking point and came completely outside of my body.
Joy had an out-of-body
I
experience.
really did.
She had to come over. She had to walk a whole block and a half.
I had to be out of that building.
She had to be out of it.
Because I did. It came out of my body, started yelling in the same fashion. I was like, "You want to fucking yell? Let's yell!" Slamming shit. And then I got the quietest, "I'm sorry. So, hell.
And I'm right there with you because I don't know what happened while I was on my short family vacation this weekend, but the number of children in this apartment complex has multiplied. Before we had one, now we have 4, and they are in a pack of loud and rowdy.
Yeah.
And yesterday, I almost yelled at them because they were playing my apartment complex. They're redoing the roof, so there was a dumpster full of roofing nails, random metal pieces, and they were climbing on it and digging on it to grab giant metal rods to then bang in front of my door with. But at the first I thought I should tell them to get out of the dumpster. But in the second thought, I was like, do I care if anything happens to them?
I mean, I was more thinking, where's the supervision?
Oh, there was supervision. They was just out back. They weren't paying attention. You know, kids.
Yeah, no, I get it.
People just have kids to not pay attention to them. That's the point, right? That's the point of children. Just to brag on the one stupid thing they do, but then for the rest of their life, you know, they sing great in the second grade like church whatever thing, and then for the rest of their lives, you know, they're out murdering people, but you're like, that one time.
As this was going, I was like, as Bob alienates every listener we have that has children.
You know, I can't remember. I can't believe he's killed 12 people, but he's not the same boy that he was in second grade when he sang like an angel. Children. I like them. They're cool.
It came across that way.
Hey, I don't care until they cross me. They're as soon as they're born, they're 45 to me. They're at that
This
same
is
level.
true. Any being that crosses you, you treat the same.
I
That is
treat exactly this.
absolutely
I don't
true.
care about their race, their creed, their
Clearly not their
heritage
age.
pie, anything like that. Like all I care about is whether I was wronged. Anyway,
Next.
informed life. So this was a really long and good podcast, I feel like, because
Yes.
we got to talk about the history of HIV, facts with AIDS, statistics on taking PrEP, and also if you didn't listen to that podcast, shout out to Mr.com, which does give PrEP free to people who cannot afford the prescription, and they do at-home testing, so you should check out Mr.com as well, or HeyMr.com too, or Mr. on any social media, MISTR without an E. Yeah, I think that was a really informative. It kind of took me back to my high school journalism days.
Yes, it was good. I mean, I think the thing is we don't talk about it enough, and I feel that is reflected in how high the numbers of transmission are. You know, people aren't getting the education, and without going into it, clearly there are a lot of states in America where we're trying to restrict education even further. So,
Correct.
you know, we need people to be speaking out on it wherever they can. So.
And still, as you know, with that episode, I gave my own personal life journey with Descovy version of PrEP. And so 7 months in, still going good, still testing at home, still on that little blue pill every single day. And it's just literally, it's just like taking aspirin to me. So, you know, some people have issues with medications, but as far as that goes, pro.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. So then we had Sam back again. Which was a lot because we had him in like a very tight spot, right? I just went to New Orleans and came back. Sam was leaving for New Orleans the next day. And so we had this whole crossover where we really didn't talk about New Orleans at all, but we talked about wiper usage, windshield wiper usage.
I was going to say, I do remember that.
That Sam had again been hit by lightning. Which we...
No, he didn't say he was hit. He said he saw it in the same spot.
Same spot. Okay, okay.
Even though he would understand the science behind that.
Right.
And then he was very adamant about us going to baseball, why we didn't love baseball.
Right.
I guess it was just me.
It was more you. But yeah, he was a little angry that we had talked about not being into sports. And But that goes back to the beginning of the show where we're not outdoorsy people.
No, we explained that.
Yeah, like I will go and camp in the woods, but there has to be woods. Because people talk about camping and then they go to these unwooded areas and then sit in the sun and bake. And then those tents, they aren't made to reflect the sun. They're made of the worst rayon material. So they're baked potatoes essentially. And so, yes, take me to the woods where you could possibly get murdered by a hatchet-wielding maniac, but not to some place with no woods. So
okay, but as somebody who did camp in the woods and hippie camp for 7 weeks, okay. No, thank you. I've done enough. All right, been there, done it. Didn't even get a T-shirt. There's a lot of bugs in the fucking woods, and everything is moist. That's all I want to say.
MOIST. Yeah, a little mist, a little moist. And then we had last month's episode, which was we're talking about DIY stuff.
Oh, DIY.
DIY, which we continue to DIY.
Yes.
Do you have anything to elaborate on that? I feel like it was just 5 seconds ago, but like,
No, I don't know that I have much to say. I can't remember if the last episode I strongly declared that, while young bitches are out here having a hot girl summer, I'm having a DIY summer. You can do that in Central Air.
Central Air.
And that is the life I was here to lead. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say about it.
Yeah, so I mean, we're always doing something. So this room looks like DIY hell right now. Literally,
DIY explosion.
there's like
been
things I'm
spray
supposed to
paint,
be
there's
sewing.
been sanding,
There's spray paint. There's
wood
paint.
glue,
Yeah, it's like
saws.
yes.
Yeah,
So
all the
everything.
things.
So that was our year.
It was quite a year.
It was quite a year.
We did the most and then some. It'll be interesting to see what we get into next year.
I know, like.
Because now that life is over, my something life is over.
And we hit our 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 years of doing the podcast. 5 years if you include the radio. It's hard to believe that was 5 years ago. The radio show started in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have nothing planned for
we'll
the
probably
future.
Figure it out the night that we record.
No.
Kidding. We'll talk about it before.
We'll talk about it before. Like I don't know. Do you have any like aspirations for it this year? I mean, like, do you want to like take it on the road?
What I do think would be awesome is to have more guests.
I think so too.
But we need people to volunteer. Maybe we have to go and recruit the guests. Maybe the guests won't make themselves known. We have to find them.
Who would guest? Krista, you need to guest on the show.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, she's listened to every single episode this year. She has to. We have to have.
Can we get Brian and Melissa?
Brian and Melissa, yeah, we're calling on you because now you can't use COVID as excuse.
I mean, I don't know if this matters at all. If I could speak to you for a second, Brian and Melissa.
Okay.
But it would make me very happy if you would come guest. That's all.
That's so
request.
sweet. And anybody else who wants to be on the show, like really?
Yeah.
Hey, we know how to phone people in. We can do that. We have technology.
Okay, and technology.
So if you like listen in another country and you feel like, I mean,
we're crazy enough to do it at a weird time.
we'll do it at a weird
Absolutely.
time. I mean, Joy's cat wakes her up like at 4 a.m. if we need us to be there. But like, I would love to do more people, because realistically, like, we're awesome and everything, and like everything we do is interesting, and yay us, ego squirt. But like,
you are so ridiculous.
but also other interesting people do other interesting things.
I can't with you. Like, why?
Maybe we could work on getting experts for our podcast.
Let's not get carried away with ourselves.
Okay, yeah, we're not paying anybody. This isn't a paid gig. But if you are an expert on anything that you feel like maybe we've talked about, or you'd like to expand upon, or you'd like to get into with us, maybe you want to fight with us, get rowdy, we get rowdy. We're about it.
You're such a mess.
That's so 2000
It
and
is.
something.
It really is. I'm like over here just like, he is on his own.
I am on my own. But yeah, looking forward to the next year and growing. Anything else you'd like to add to that?
I do have one thing.
Oh.
It's a little serious, so that's
Okay.
why I hesitate. But I do think that maybe we should acknowledge that we both had a big loss this year over the last actual year.
Yeah.
I lost my baby Optimus. He died not that long ago.
Yeah.
And
And I lost my little dude Mojo in November.
So we used to talk about them a lot reference them a lot on the podcast. So in the future you may hear me talk about a single cat, may not hear us talk about Mojo in the
Yeah.
corner.
I mean, Mojo used to make fun of him and say he was like our technical engineer.
Yeah, he
And
was always overlooking. He was our supervisor.
He was our supervisor, and he was always like, he actually was a timekeeper. And this is no joke for anybody out there. Like, Joy and I, our routine was eat food, talk some shit, maybe watch an hour of something, then do the podcast.
Yeah.
And Mojo would be like, bitches, it's time to go to the show.
Yeah.
And it was serious because he was a very time-oriented animal. Like, everything he was on medication, so he was always, like, if I was a minute or two late with his shot, he was, like, telling me it's time to get my shot. So, like, he was very intelligent with time, and he definitely is definitely missed. Every single time I sit at this desk, I still feel like he should be right there next to me. But, yeah. It's been a rough year with COVID, and then both of us having to lose a piece of our heart. And, like, when those were other than each other, a lot of our day-to-day interactions were with our animals. And a lot of people out there, I feel like, lost animals too during this. It just felt like it was a nonstop, seeing it on Facebook, seeing it on Instagram, and it's hard. And we steered clear of it, talking about it during death. But yeah, and your optimist is still fairly recent.
Yep. Still get a little choked up about it. But that was my mean girl. That was
Yeah.
my mean girl, and I miss him dearly because same.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen to us for the rest of the year, and get back to us and let us know if you want to be on the show. Man, we took it to a somber level.
I know we did.
And we do really appreciate everybody that listens to us. I know sometimes the shit I say may single people out or upset people. And a lot of times I like to say I'm joking, but I'm not. And so, but we do really appreciate everyone that listens to us, and keep listening.
Please do.